of 5. I want 5 games on this
5
one.
bangers, please, man. 5 bangers.
But he was talking about it. Of all the teams, the one that he's most concerned about is X7. It's the first round as well. So fear could be part of the equation. Let's see how they can deal with this one. If you want to talk about this game, the first one, let's set up stakes. Let's look into the lens and understand where should we focus. Let's start with the jungle. We have Diamond Prox versus Viking. You played versus them. What do you believe is the role for both of these junglers?
I think their both roles are just facilitating the team, making sure they are able to carry.
I do believe we have a little bit of a stats from both junglers. It's kind of awkward. You look into that and like, wait, this is not good. But this is the life of a jungler. Well, you want to facilitate your lanes, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? And it's just confirming what we are talking about. They want to play for their soliness. They're not the one taking the gold. They're not the one taking the kills. They want to give them over to their teammates. And talking more about these guys, we've talked about Diamond Prox playing the Wukong. You can see it here on the graphics. He's showing us a Wukong there, right? And he's played the Volibear as well. But both of these champions have now been nerfed. And what has been popping up in the meta all around the globe as a new facilitating jungler? Well, it's the Puppey. And looking deep into both of these junglers, match history, Viking has never played the Puppey competitively, but Bifrost have, Diamond Prox has. So for me, I'm kind of looking at, will X7 ban this away and say it's a very strong tool that we are not comfortable playing, or say, no, pick it. We have a good counter up against it.
I like the idea of the Puppey because if you look into Viking's champion pool, most of those champions bring in the dashes. So Puppey could be a way to deal with it. Like the only one he didn't pick a dash with was Olaf, a Viking himself. So, and it was not the most successful champion from Viking itself. So let's see if they're going to take that way on the champion select, which leads us into the mid lane because those facilitators are mostly working for the mid lane. I want you to approach this one. We have Fury, which is really good on Assassins. We have Timpt, who's also good on Assassins. Fury himself was saying Timpt is the best mid laner. How can you approach this?
Yeah, for me, there's one or two ways about it. Either you commit to the Assassin playstyle that you say and they match each other. We just see who's better mechanically. We can see it here in the stats as well, right? They both dish out a ton of damage. They both have high kill participations, being very close to each other in those regards. Or they take it a step back and say, okay, we might actually go for a bit more facilitating play. We saw Fury mention it in the interview, right? Tim can also play these facilitators, and so can Fury. So maybe something like the Azir or other scaling mid laners where you simply just want to sit back, allow your jungler to play for other laners, like your top lane solo laners, or maybe for the bot lane, but we have 2 great AD carries as well, and say, I will just be there for the late game team fights.
That is a big question. That's why I'm going to jump into you. It is your lane right now. You know these two, Attila and Odie. We saw Attila talking about Odie, how good Odie is. Do you think Odie is a big piece on the chessboard for Bifrost?
I think Odie is the main piece. I think if he's not ahead, I think they're not going to thrive in this game.
And he's facing Attila. You face both of them. Can you tell me the play styles of Attila and Odie?
I think the difference is a bit that Attila is more the aggressive player. He's going to punish you in lane, and Odie is just sit back, relax, and wait for late game.
It's interesting. We saw the damage per minute, if I'm not mistaken. Odie is on the 2nd place. Attila is almost matching LDLC AD carry, which is the highest damage in the entire ERLs.
Yeah, for me, about the bot lane, Smurfs is really hitting the head on the nail. He's saying it right. Odie wants to scale up, wants to be the late game team fighting carry, but if there's someone who's able to take the lane to him and say, I will not allow this, I will kill you early on, I will put you behind, and I will get very fed, then it's Attila. Then it's the picks like the Draven, like the Tristana, the ones that are able to jump in early and just shut down Odie. And that's kind of what I'm looking at here. Will Attila say, okay, we both go scaling? Or will Attila say, no, I will not allow you to scale. I will be facing you up in the laning phase and I will be killing you multiple times and put you as far behind as possible.
So those key pieces for Bifrost could fall before they can even play chess on this first game. But well, we have some sort of expertise on the desk, let's be honest, even on the casters, but we have other experts working on this game. This is a surprise. Twitch chat has voted on who they think is going to win the first game of the day. I would like to see that one. I have no idea.
Okay. That is surprisingly close. Looking at the momentum.
Close? 62 to 38?
I mean, considering the momentum, X7 haven't lost a single game with Viking. And in all honesty, had JDXL and Riddle not had as good starts of the split, I think X7 deserved that 2nd place spot if they had also played better early on. So for me, I'm very surprised it is this close, but I hope it's going to be close because I really want this to be a 5-game banger back and forth where we don't know who the winner is. I want this to be evenly matched.
Merbs, do you think this percentage is as it should be, or what sort of percentage would you give?
No, I would give a higher percent to X7.
Give me a number. Give me a number.
I mean, like 80%.
80% for X7.
Okay,
I really think
that's a
they
bit
had
much.
this.
We're going for the moon. We're going for the moon, boys. Well, let's start this champions. Do you want to do the honors? Do you want to click the button?
Go on.
He did it, so let's jump into the first champion select of the day. X7 versus Bifrost. X7 on the blue side. Interestingly enough, this way they don't have the counter pick for the last one, but they can make the first pick. Who should they prioritize? Any of you, just tell me.
I think they're gonna prioritize just picking the jungler early. I think it's something that doesn't get too punished and doesn't show too much in the drafting.
And looking a bit more ahead to the ban, something that I want to point out, the Wukong has already been banned, is obviously still playable even with the nerfs. Not as powerful, but we know Diamond Proc is good enough to get the best value out of that pick. So that has been removed. They've removed an early game AD carry as well for Odie, the Kalista not happening, and also that Silas that we saw be so dominant up against MNS on JDXL back when he was there. One thing that I want to point out for Bifrost that I really like is removing the Draven, because that is the strongest laning phase AD carry that has been taken away to kind of give Odie the best chances possible to scale, and they insta-lock that Sari. I think if you're Bifrost, you're very happy with that. If you can just go scaling and scaling in the bot lane, you're very happy in my eyes.
But do you believe the Zeri is at a point where Attila can just carry in the late game regardless of what they pick on the other side? It could be in the failures on the other... It's a Twitch?
Oh, the Twitch.
What do you think about that, Mervs?
I mean, I still think Sari is just S tier right now. I think she's still the strongest, even though she got nerfed. And I'm not too... like, everyone runs the Twitch into counter as Sari, but I don't like it that much.
Oh, interesting. They have the Lulu to pet it up, which means they can probably provide with another carry in the mid lane for Fury. Let's see if he's going to take that one, as I do believe it is locked in.
That's a Rek'Sai that's hovered. It hasn't been locked in yet.
Oh, it's not locked in yet, okay.
Inching around a bit. So it looks to be going for the support pick instead. Maybe no. There's that Poppy. Well, that's the first time Viking whips it out. First time ever. And it makes sense, right? Because Poppy is very meta, so of course you would want him to practice it. But whipping it out for the first time in your playoff series? Respect. I'm very
bring in the Trundle to try and reply. It is an interesting one coming in for Diamond Proc. Completely locked in. But if you see the pillar in the middle of a team fight, you can knock someone against that one. So I don't know how this is going to go. Second round of bans. We already have the bot lane. As a player, usually, what do you see getting banned now? You think they're going for the mid laners?
I would assume Bifrost is banning supports, or the mid laners, and trying to save top lane for last. I think just having the counter pick onto Chase is going to be favoring Bifrost.
It seems like they're going to go for that mid lane. Ryze is going to be removed. We know that Fury plays the Assassins. I don't know if this is going to be the case because you don't know what Tempt is looking for.
Yeah, I think for me it is very clear at the moment that what Bifrost want to do is, in the late game, count on Odie. When you're prioritizing above anything else the Twitch Lulu, well, that's definitely one of the carries that you want to have when you move into the later stages of the game, as the Shyvana gets taken off the table while Bifrost, as you said, Merbs, have been focusing on that mid lane, removing the Ryze from Tempt's pool.
So the last ban coming in from Bifrost could be looking into the mid lane, well, reminding everyone that Ahri is still available. We know that Fury plays that one, but so does Tempt. And we've seen him play that Ahri as Gwen is going to be taking out. What do you believe is going to be the last ban? Or where should he be focusing?
The last ban, well, I mean, for me, you should probably be focusing on either the top or the mid, which is the obvious response, but I would probably prefer the top lane because X7 pretty much know that they are going to be the one who's going to get counterpicked in the top lane, so remove as many of those strong counterpick top laners as possible, with that Sejuani being a very strong tank you can throw up there, now being taken off. So for me, we're looking at the mid laners now. What does he want to whip out? It is hovering on the Azira, more scaling mid laner, and does actually lock it in, so now you have two very strong scaling carries on the side of Bifrost.
So now he's looking for the mid lane. We do see the Ahri is available. I don't know, this is an interesting one, unless Temp wants to go and take anything else. For the top lane, you reckon any sort of pick could be favorable for Chasey?
No, I think he's just gonna blind something that is not that counterable. I think he's just gonna be, the Gnar. Obviously a strong pick, like been for patches now and just stable.
final pick before we jump into game, Duckling.
That is the on. It's just very quickly locked in. So for me, what is very interesting here is your 2 carries are very scaling. So if you manage to get one of these ahead, obviously that's going to be great, but it's a very scaling-oriented Bifrost. If they go into the late game team fights, which was their main characteristic of Spring Split 2022, I think they're going to have a lot of success, but if Viking manages to get someone rolling in the early game, it can be very hard to slow the game down until Furry and until Odie really start stepping up in the late game.
So, gentlemen, we have to do some predictions before we jump into this one. I'll start with you, Duckling, leaving you for last Merbs. Duckling, who do you think is going to take it?
I think both teams can take this one. I'm happy with what Bifrost have done, but with the momentum and with the Ahri in particular going over to the side of X7, I'm going to say them.
X7?
X7 take
What about you, Merbs?
I also like what Bifrost has brought. I think they have a lot of scaling and playing towards their strength, but I still think X7 has this one.
So both of you going for X7 for the first one to put in the momentum meter in favor of that team. The team that picked Bifrost, they also won versus them in Spring Split. It's hope from Spring Split fighting against each other, but only one can thrive today. Without further ado, it is time to toss it to the casters for the first game of the day. Triple Link and Initialize, how are you doing?
I have never been better. Time to kick off some playoff action. And to back up what the desk was saying, a little note from Dan Holt on Twitter. As it stands, I believe it, Bifrost only have a 20% win rate on red side this split.
I think it makes complete sense right here because Bifrost have not necessarily been relying on the counter picks to win the game. We know that their strongest suit is front-to-back team fights. Enable Odie, give him a hard scaling AD carry, which usually you get when you're on blue side, when you're able to grab that Zeri. This time Odie, of course, on the Rat together with the Lulu might actually shine on that as well.
Absolutely. And of course, we've seen what Zeri's done recently. I think on Saturday we saw 3 pentakills across
very balanced.
The LCK, the NA, and of course in Turkey as well. An insane champion right now. But
Still has also
Bifrost,
had one himself here.
Oh, exactly. See what Bifrost looking pretty happy themselves, but enough of this. It is time to head on to the Rift for our first game of playoffs, our first game between our Spring Split EU Masters representatives. One team will go home today, one team will not be returning to EU Masters. And we've got this first game to kick us off.
And it's just very, I don't know, like heartwarming, I want to say, that this Bifrost, with the upgraded roster from Spring, fighting in the lower bracket with a chance to actually get eliminated right here and not get that 3rd ticket. Same thing for X7. We expected great things with MC coming into the roster, replacing Harold. That didn't go very well for them. Ever since Viking joins, they're on a 6-0 tear, and only one of the two can actually grab that last ticket, whether it be it main stage or planes, it's yet to be decided.
Indeed, it's such a big deal. Of course, still a long way to go. You've got to climb a long way to get to EU Masters. You must reach that lower bracket semi-finals. That means winning 2 best-of-5s to qualify, and this is only step 1, and it does mean that at least one of our Spring Split representatives aren't going to EU Masters. There's a very real world where neither do, of course, despite the fact that I think X7 in particular have really improved over recent weeks. Yep. They've still got to make this count here against teams that, are no pushovers. Our teams have been very good, but we've seen some of those level 1 wards. We saw a little attempt from Viking early on the Poppy to make something happen there, but they're going to start on same sides of the map here.
If we think of early split that you were mentioning, some of the level 1s from X7 were abysmal. They were literally losing games off of these simple level 1s. I'm just going to remind the game versus Riddle. Talking about the game versus Riddle.
That's going to be a level 1, I forget what it's called, Shield of Daybreak. That's
it's a little bit of a slap in the face.
Literally.
Really happening. But like, if you see all across the board, I'd like to put our focus a little bit on Bifrost. We mentioned how it's not necessarily that early game aggression, even though knowing Diamond Procs, he's gonna gank you level 2, level 3, level 4, level 2 gank, bot lane.
Red buff running right the way to bot side. Kasing has to flash, gets the Shield of Daybreak. It's only some summoners, a heal out of Attila, a flash out of Kasing, and Diamond has to retreat straight back to the jungle.
Now, what's really important to see right here is what's going to happen with that mid lane prior. Right now, Diamond Procs has showed himself level 2 bot lane. He's going to have to walk into his bot quadrant to try and get level 3. What can happen right here is Attila and Kasing can get prior bot lane, and once Viking has actually grabbed his red buff, he's already level 3, he can actually invade Diamond Proxy's jungle together with the bot lane. As you will see, Attila and Kasing are trying to shove in this wave as fast as possible. We might actually see early game action in that bot quadrant of Diamond Proxy's jungle.
Fantastic. We'll keep our eyes out for that, of course. It's still got to go through and make that happen. And right now, honestly, Bifrost playing with a fair amount of priority in mid and bot lane, something we've often criticized them for in draft and in play, where they've left the jungle out to dry a touch by having shoved in, and then some play from Diamond revealing himself on the ganks gets punished. Thus far, played off okay, is a little behind in terms of the farm because of that very aggressive level 2 gank, but we'll get this Scuttle Crab. Viking's not going to be here in time, and Diamond gets out of dodge.
Yeah, and actually I think Diamond Prox got away with a lot right here, especially since Poppy was also pathing towards the bot side of the map, and you do have bot lane prior, and you do have an area over in the mid lane. It could very easily be an invade, but luckily for Diamond Prox, he managed to get the grab, he managed to get his bot side jungle very safely, and now he can actually start roaming towards the top side. Now, if we're looking at Trundle, we're looking at early game ganks, but also Kasing is looking at early game ganks. Fury is a target.
Needs to be so afraid, flash away from the Zenith Blade, but that means the mid lane is already down that flash, and Fury is someone we've said is a little volatile, all things said and done. It's not been his best split ever, all things said and done. The Akali on the, was it the last day of play or was it the day before?
It was the last day.
It was the last day of play, there we go. Had a moment there of trying to work out when that champion was picked. Wasn't as phenomenal as we've often seen from him on the champion, and it's been a mixed split. Losing the flash early on from a roam from Kasing could be a bit risky. To see whether Viking or Kasing can help tempt punish on that missing summoner spell.
Of course, the thing with Azir is that he has a bunch of dashes that he can actually use together with his shoulders. So for tempt, after level 6 especially, you can actually try to force the dash, and then the gank can come through. Very importantly for tempt, he's level 5, almost at level 6, almost the Spirit Rush, which means that he will have plenty of ways to get out of dodge if a gank does arrive towards that mid lane. He also has his flash available. So far, in the early, we've seen Diamond Prox only put focus on the bot side of the map. And talking about bot side of the map, Odi has been one of the most key components to Bifrost's victories. This guy was one of the strongest members over in Spring. Oof. He showed up at the EU Masters, and he's showing up again here. Very deep champion pool when it comes to AD carries, early game, mid game, late game, spiking. He's brought out mages, he's brought out the enchanters. Whatever you want this guy to do, he will do. 686 damage per minute is absolutely insane, and it's what you expect from a caliber of an ADC like Odi, which is showing our league first in Spring, and we're like, wait, this guy could be a candidate for being #1.
He really has put himself up there. The kill leader right now in the league as well, of course, 102, our only player. I was going to call him a champion. It's a bit more than that, of course.
Triple digit?
Yeah, to be in triple digit kills. Very, very impressive stuff from him, and very necessary as well. A serious MVP for Bifrost this split long. But X7 have managed to pull off a whole gang squad. They've got multiple members coming down here, and Diamond has to back away from the Gromp, looking to potentially capitalize here.
Oh, they're looking for a dive right here, but Diamond Prox is around.
Shove him away from the tower, though. Highway gets charmed, goes down, and it was an attempted counter gank that goes horribly wrong as Viking just pushes him away from safety.
I was thinking that X7 might actually call off the dive because they saw the Gromp moving, which means that Diamond Prox was around, but Highway mispositions, doesn't play close to the wall because he's scared of the Poppy charge, but then he plays towards the charm and he gets caught by Tempt. Talking about Tempt, ever since Viking joined that roster, it's been a roaming pleasure to watch from the Korean mid laner. Level 6 onto the Ahri, straight down the bot side of the map. And as you will see, Highway, he's trying to avoid actually getting stunned onto a tower or a wall by Poppy, to the point where he actually gets taken further away from his team and doesn't manage to actually stay alive. Very importantly, Tempt's Ahri is the one that's going to bank the kill, which is one of these champions that usually, when you go for that early Luden's Echo and you spike, you can 100% to 0 a lot of champions that don't really have any items completed yet.
No, and punishing the bot side is a surefire way to making Bifrost struggle. They've really relied on Odie to keep ahead of the curve, and while Highway's the one that dies, not Odie, still a nice early kill. Nice gank from Viking to continue being the proactive player, the tip of the spear that X7 were kind of lacking earlier on in the split. They really have had a huge turnaround in fortune since he's come in, undefeated as it stands, and a lot of that has just been off better communication. We've seen a lot more out of all the lanes of X7. They look a lot more coordinated and decisive in the mid-game later.
And I think more importantly, it's been about Tempt. It felt like before Viking joined, it was Tempt against the world. He was trying to make the plays, not sure exactly what champions he wanted to be on. Ever since Viking joined, it's a perma roaming lane for X7, and Tempt has usually liked champions like the Sylas, like the Taliyah that we've seen him on a lot. You literally solving your wave, go into a side lane, same thing that kind of we watch over in the LPL, same thing that the Mad Lions can do so well over in the LEC, and so far, one roam has netted them with 1 kill, again, on the only AP carry in the team.
Looking down the river as well, it is blue wards everywhere. X7 controlling very much the river, and it's giving them a chance to get onto this Herald.
I was going to say blue walls, and I'm like, not again, man.
Yeah, like we're a little bit haunted by Carmine Core here in the NLC, and perhaps rightly so, but the Herald being started up, Carmine Core puns notwithstanding, but Bifrost looked to trade that across onto the Dragon, something that has become more prevalent across recent weeks, getting those early Drakes to get that soul win condition.
So usually when you have a little bit more proactivity in the early game, when you have the Now, when you have the Ari, when you do like to fight as well together with the Poppy, you want to go towards this Rift Tail, pop it down, get priority or get some more tire platings into your carry. I think when you do have that late game scaling team, you do usually want to opt towards these Dragons, which means that not only are you creating a win condition for yourself and a team fight condition later on for yourself, but you also win yourself 5 minutes. What do I mean by that? Usually when you have a late game scaling team, you don't want to be forced into a fight when you don't have your items and when you don't have your levels. By having Dragons on the opposite team and they go towards that soul point, that means you're forced to fight. Having that first Dragon, meaning that you're going 5 minutes further into the game for that soul for your opponents, means that you gain time.
Here we go. Bot side 3v3. Get the level 6, but another turnaround from Odie as he begins to spray and pray, and Kasing has to flash out. He's been a punishable target as Diamondprox flashes in with the Subjugate running, but can't secure the kill. Summoners burned, particularly by X7, but no one dies.
I'm a little bit baffled right there because I feel like Diamondprox had a pretty good avenue to continue chasing, but Highway and Odie were on a completely different page. They didn't want to necessarily go in for the kill and chase. Also, Tempt wasn't really in the middle. He was TPing, chasing.
Has to flash out from the second part of the Call of the Forge God, and the Summoner Spellbook Ignite was chunking. There we go. Chasey away, finally found the correct words, but nothing too much more to write homebound right now. But looking at the gold graph, it's X7 with a decent lead, and they've got 2 culls in inventory as well. They felt comfortable enough to buy those early, and they're about to cash in as well.
Yeah, and look at that. Tempt just TP'd back into the mid lane, and Fury has managed to chuck him down to about 20% of his HP. That is huge, because if Diamondprox chooses to make a play, Fury should technically be the one to move first from the mid lane. And even if he's not, Tempt has very low HP bars to be able to contest anything around the map. Luckily for X7 right now, there is nothing to fight for. There is no Dragon, there is no Rift Herald, so Tempt can actually chill under his tower, soak up all the experience and gold coming in with the minions that Fury is pushing his way, and everything will go back to normal for a few more minutes. 2 minutes 45 for the next Dragon, and let's see if any of the 2 junglers who are extremely proactive in this early game so far can go towards any lane that's missing flashes. My eyes go straight towards the top side. Minina, extremely susceptible to getting ganked on that Minina form, and Diamondprox has a pretty easy, I would say highway, but it will be a pan towards the top side of the map.
Yeah, very good. Highway to putting Chasey into, well, the danger zone. At least I was going to perhaps make an ACDC reference, but I thought that'd be a little harsh early on in the game. As it stands, though, X7 are the ones with the Herald in inventory as well, and a lot of plates going their way. And Chasey was a large part of the win X7 got against Bifrost when they rematched in the last week of play as well. Got huge leads, but Odie, out of ambush, gets a big poison cask as well, but won't chase too much farther. In the river, Diamond about to get charged to the wall, does have Subjugate, hasn't yet to pop it, may need to burn his flash, which he doesn't even have, so we'll have to go towards the blast cone. Gets out of danger though, and Highway very much in the middle of nowhere right now. He's in the enemy jungle, there's a Spirit Rush to follow him. Attila hops over the wall, and that would just be a dead Lulu. I don't know why you were there, but what you are now is dead.
I think Bifrost are extremely miscoordinated right here. Odi gets a pretty good chunk off of Attila, which means that if you give Odi a few more seconds, he gets to shove in that wave and get first into the river. Diamondprox gets caught, then Highway doesn't really move towards Diamondprox, he moves away from him, which means he doesn't have the tools to actually support his jungler. And right now, Bifrost are going to give up even more turret platings, this time towards the bot side of the map, into Attila's Zeri, which might I remind you, Attila has almost had a pentakill on this champion.
I feel like everybody's nearly had a pentakill on this champion at that point.
Listen, if I play this champion, it's not going to look that good, okay? So I'm giving them credit where credit is due.
Yeah, there's some skill involved as well, requires some mechanics. Attila may have to spark Social Wall, but the way he was interrupted, Attila has to flash. Solar Flare come through, but overcome Fury, shuffling his way over. Still got an Emperor's Divide, but an Ultra Shock Laser will do enough work to disengage an attempted play. Nice attempt by Bifrost, but they can't make it stick onto that slippery Zeri.
And very importantly, Attila has just lost his flash, Kasink the same. That means that when the dragon comes up in 20 seconds, this is going to be very crucial. All this flash just about to come off of cooldown, very important for the Twitch to be able to stand still and put down that spray and pray. Which I think is spray and pray yet again. Really nice attempt from there, right there from Diamondprox. I was about to try and burn Temp's ultimate, but Temp does not have his ultimate up and available. So all eyes on Attila Zeri on how he's going to opt to play this fight. For Bifrost, it's very important, stacking these dragons. Shikari, though, has to walk all the way from bot lane, has the spellbook, has previously used that teleport, has to run all the way from the top side of the map.
Chasey is here, but nowhere near Meganar, and Bifrost are trying to stall to allow their Ornn to arrive. It means they have to lose control of the river. Bone Meringue will do its work on a Diamondprox, and they just have to give up on that dragon. Instead, they will try to get some mid lane priority.
I mean, I think at this point, you actually walk into the river because you have called Shikari towards that mid side of the map. I feel the fact that Odi was pretty late with his back. Shikari was not on par because she had to walk all the way from the top side of the map. Really delayed the tempo to going towards that second dragon stacking. And honestly, X7, big props. They see that it was a 3 versus 5. They push X7 out of the river. And the only chance Bifrost did have right there was push that mid lane wave and try to enter that wave. But Fury!
Flash to the other side of the Solar Flare, and a nice sidestep keeps Fury alive. But it will be the flash down. Kind of out of nowhere, it feels like. I'm looking at this gold, and it's 4,500.
Oh boy, and it's a 4-man stack towards the top side of the map. Kasink's actually gonna back, so it's gonna be only Shikari versus Chasey and Viking, but I'm saying only this Chase is gonna go into Minina. I don't know if you wanna be diving an Ornn with a Minina, but nevertheless, it's going to be the shadowing right there from Viking, taking down the tower. Chasey,
Lordy Lord.
Full tower, full turret platings pre-minute 15, 6.5k, he's 2,000 gold up his opposition. Now, last time this happened, we saw this exact match. It was X7 versus Bifrost. What happens when the top lane tower falls that early is that usually you can manage to punish the opponent top laner who overextends towards that tier 2. Now, last time, and the criticism that we had for Shikari is that he never froze that wave in front of his tier 2 to force Chasey to push it further, and we see the exact same situation happening right here. The fact that you do not allow the Nard to overextend means you give yourself less punishing windows to actually capitalize and cash in on a 150 gold bounty plus kill.
Yeah, that bounty is basically purely from turret plates, from laning. Shikari, honestly, he's had a quiet split, and Chasey really had his number the last time, and it seems similarly again this game. Gnar has been a very potent pick since the changes in durability, and you can kind of see it here. Wins up in this all matchup, gets the early tower, gets to back now.
Keep it right there. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Is it ice cold?
Yeah.
Beautifully frozen.
No.
Well, can't quite keep it out of range of the tower, but this will do for now, and that's kind of the play. Teleport still half on cooldown, and at least Bifrost did manage to get tower down on the bot side to get some more gold into Odie, but X7 very much in a commanding position with this second Herald, with the gold exactly where it needs to be. And it is Bifrost playing catch-up from a deficit, which we've seen quite a lot this year in general.
Yeah, it's almost like a 5,000 gold deficit.
Right?
But the gold lies mainly towards the top side of the map, onto this Na. So unless Chasey manages to capitalize and use this gold lead into the team fights, then Bifrost might have a chance to come back into this game. We're looking mainly at Odi, we're looking mainly at this Twitch. Will he be able to get one of these huge ultimates in a team fight to put down X7? Now looking at their composition, this is a front to back textbook for Bifrost. Azir to create space in front of the Twitch. You've got Lulu to buff up and protect the Twitch, and then you have two mid shields literally in front of you, the Trundle and the Ornn, creating even more space, engage and disengage. Talking about Chasey though, overextending, Odi, he's hiding.
He's looking for an ambush. The call of the Forge God comes through as well. Chasey flashes, but will get shut down by Odi. Another kill to his tally.
That was such a nice predict right there from Shikari as well on Chasey's flash. Viking almost getting caught right there. Fury, I think, with the panic button on the ultimate to try and push them away. But nevertheless, they lose Chasey on the top side of the map. Yes, the shutdown does go to Odi, which is pretty grim. But Attila takes that mid lane tower, which is so pivotal. When you are the team that gets ahead, you take that mid lane tower, you get to bleed your vision into your opponent's jungle, which means that when the next dragon spawns, and that's in 1 minute, Bifrost are going to have to call the Ornn towards the bottom of the map so he can face check first.
Absolutely, and all the while, X7 took 2 turrets while that play was happening topside. Teleport from Chasey top, though, means he's not going to have an easy way to get towards that dragon unless he decides to roam now, which I suppose he can choose to do, but looking like he's going to take this opportunity to really pressure in the top side and maybe give up the dragon, knowing that honestly they've already got one and stopped that down. But Diamond's actually around here. They're feeling like they can't fight right now and actually would rather continue to try and shut down Chasey.
Okay, so far they've been completely unseen. Diamondbrox can actually steal all the Mega Nurse stats right here from Chasey.
Trying to polymorph him well. He'll hop away. Does not have the flash yet. Can't quite secure the kill though. And Chasey gets to walk out to safety.
Oh, but if you got the kill right there, you could actually TP your Azir all the way to the bottom of the map and possibly try to walk into the river. Right now, Bifrost, unfortunately, because they tried to pull off this gank, are behind the play. Riftail is going to be pulled towards the bottom of the map. Tier 2 bot lane is going to fall, but also X7 will have access to that second dragon. So Bifrost trying to get something proactive. Unfortunately, doesn't work out for them. They lose tower and they're going to lose that second dragon as well.
Nothing comes for free this game. X7 find their 4th tower of the game. The gold leads continue to expand everywhere. They might even get another charge here on the held onto the inhibitor turret.
I was about to say, they do have a pretty fast Baron team
with
Azir and Twitch. So if you leave them alone at the tops of the map for way too long, that purple wall might actually fall. Of course, it hasn't spawned yet to fall. But we should keep our eye on that for later on, because Twitch plus Azir plus all the Lulu buffs and shields and speed ups means that Baron dies really quick.
Trying to get this Twitch to a point of power will be a Bifrost priority, but right now you're looking 2 items completed for pretty much everybody on the side of X7 in the mid bot lane, and I suspect Chasey won't be far off either once he returns back to base. And Bifrost on the other side, look, they've got 1 item complete mostly, but they are a long way off those second items, and that is a big deal when it comes to just raw power discrepancy.
And again, with your Ornn on the bot side of the map, who is going to face check? Usually you want Trundle, but Trundle is level 10. Tempt is level 13. You see Chase is level 13. You'll start tearing through the defenses of this Trundle at some point. Shikari needs to be there, and as you can see, he backs off. He comes back onto the map towards the top side of the map. They need to take sole control of that top quadrant of Diamondbrox's jungle if they want to have chances to fight for the Baron, to catch someone off guard towards the top side of the map. Nicely done there from Shikari. Finds that sneaky control ward that is usually left in this bush. But again, the fact that you need Shikari to be there to face check for you, your jungle, means that you are losing pressure on the other side of the map. Shikari, backed, went top side of the map, took control of top quadrant, has to walk all the way down bot.
Fury and Diamond will try and team up here to secure something resembling a little control of their own red side quadrant. As you were saying, they really need to be able to hold on to that if they want to be able to make sure Baron isn't an opportunity for X7, because now that both Heralds are down, now that you're going to hit this point at the game, X7's next goal in a large way will be setting up for Soul Point, setting up for a Baron take, and making sure that's not an easy option is Bifrost's #1 aim right now, and maybe trying to get Odi to a second item.
Yeah, and also, Odi's second item means that Shikari can actually give him an ornament when he has his mythic. At this point, he does not. Level 14 on the Ornn means that you can upgrade a teammate's item, but he can no longer give this to Odi because Odi does not have his second item completed, which is going to be his mythic, most likely something like the Kraken Slayer, or if he opts into something like the Gale Force. There you go. Now he can be a buildy boy and give him that ornament onto the Kraken Slayer. Huge for him. Of course, Odi going for the Kraken Slayer instead of the Gale Force. He has a lot of protection. He has the Lulu. He has Trundle and Ornn in front of him. He has a Zir with the wall.
Yeah.
He has all the tools to be able to pretty much stand still and do a Kog'Maw.
Yes, if Odi is doing okay in the game, Bifrost still have ways to play this. And
there you go.
There's the upgrade. And do you know what it's called, Trouble?
Absolutely not.
Wormfallen Sacrifice.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Kraken Slayer sounds much better.
It's like worm with a Y. It's like dragon killing.
Oh, I was like, right. I thought worms.
A great worm. Yes, to speak in ye old fantasy language. But there you go. It's like, it's like, why talk about worms? That's like less cool than a Kraken. But there we go. Is Charm lands on Shikari, who will go unstoppable with a Bellows Breath. But Tempt, even against the Ornn, doing a little bit of damage there than perhaps would be more than expected. Odi was haunting around this bot side, but won't time too much. And all the while, you just need the picture-in-picture. Chasey's getting the bot lane wave shoved in, and the wave controls on sides has been so much better for X7.
Yeah, because it's been very problematic. You need your Ornn to face check from you, which means he's not going to be on the side lane. And if Fury doesn't have his teleport up and available, that means Shikari is going to lose waves, is going to lose experience on the side lane because Chasey is just perma shoving. So what Bifrost needs to do here is actually get that TP onto Fury, keep it for this sort of fight, and have Fury play against that now on the side lane, perma shoving in that wave, because you do need Shikari to face check for you, because right now X7 could potentially be doing Baron, and Bifrost have absolutely zero idea, but they can also not face check until Shikari's there. Now that he's there, they can actually start making their way into that topside river.
Bifrost need to find an angle to fight soon, and they're going to be facing down a third completed item, not just two. This is kind of your window before things really get catastrophically difficult. They're 7,000 odd gold behind. They're going to try and find a pick in the mid lane if they can. It's a good pillar. They can't quite get anything more than the flash. Viking knocks away the Trundle, but all the while, Tempt's not there. But Odi just murders the Gnar from under the picture-in-picture. Now they need to see whether they can get this mid lane tier 1. That will be the trade, but look at Tempt. He's continuing to shove. Will not burn the teleport. Bifrost get a hold of that. It's a big ultra shot laser, but they're going to move towards this dragon spawning and try to claim that as an additional prize.
Just right in time, and Shikari has also changed his second summoner into a teleport. Does he need to TP back into the fight? He's going to go towards the top side of the map, clean out whatever minions are pushing from Tempt, as Odi is trying to shove in yet another mid lane wave. Fury is setting up towards the bot side. Shikari is going to actually stay. Viking with no ultimate. 5 versus 4 versus 3, sorry, at this point. Tempt just joins, making it a 5 versus 4.
There's some decent health bars. Diamond secures the dragon. A decent attempt, though, to try and turn this around. Here comes the teleport back, though. Stunned into the wall is Diamond, and he's dead. Subjugate won't matter here. Shikari with a decent call of the Forge God, but it's just not enough. A wild growth will not keep the Ornn alive, and Attila is about to make this a certified Zeri moment. Over he goes. Tempt on a rampage, and Bifrost lose 3 on the retreat from Dragon.
And so well done by Chasey. He knows he's holding majority of that gold lead from X7 in his hands. What does he do? He pulls a fantastic TP flank, which breaks the front to back that Bifrost wants to do right here. Really nice engage right here from Kasing, catching the 2 tanks, separating them from the entirety of the team. You see that Odi does not have spray and pray on him, so he can't do the big damages onto X7. And once that flash is used, the taunt from Tempt is going to seal the deal right there. X7 run away with 3. X7 run away with the Baron. And remember that side lane pressure that they had with the Ahri and the Gnar. Now it's going to be ×3, because they can literally 1-3-1 with their composition, because the side laners are that much stronger.
Mastercard Baron power play comes through. They've got themselves 4 kills and 3 items on this Ahri. The Infinity Edge is in for Zeri. This is looking like an exceptionally difficult game for Bifrost. And X7, on the other hand, it's been slow, it's been steady, and now it is a 10,000 gold lead. And a very easy way to walk this game into victory.
I'm just feeling like I'm watching an Astralis game right here, where Bifrost is just literally waiting for a miracle team fight that might come here from Odi. Odi on 3 items.
OD's in danger, rooted. Kasing gets in. Kasing ensures Attila gets the kill. Shikari turns up, but it is too late. That critical piece of the puzzle for Bifrost melts away. And X7 with the man advantage can look to continue shoving in and maybe even try and end the game.
And look at bot lane, there's another wave pushing from Chasey that can actually, if not end, they can take 2 inhibitor towers right here. 4 members standing, but your core piece that's meant to carry you is no longer there. All dead for another 17 seconds. What can X7 take?
X7 have yet to lose to Bifrost this year in a best of 5. It went from 3-2 to 3-0, and we might be looking at another start of another massive victory for them. They might be forced away from the second inhibitor. Odie now respawned, and they hold on to the shambles their base has been reduced to.
Very well done right here from X7. You do not have to overextend. You give a bunch of these shutdowns, 600 on Temp, 600 on Attila, over to a Twitch. Suddenly this Twitch skyrockets to 4, maybe 4 to 5 items, and then it's going to be really difficult to team fight. A little bit questionable right there. Fury also had that ultimate, was not used to try and save the Twitch. A little bit of miscoordination, miscommunication right there from Bifrost has resulted in a 11 to 12k lead. Huge. Right now for X7. All X7 have to do is literally just push that bot side together with the top side. The teleports are up. Temp does have his teleport up and available for himself. As you will see, they will bunch up together. They will shove in that mid wave that is going to permanently push because they have the super minion there, and then the rest will go towards the focus of the map.
Oh, Odie, you cannot be there. He was greeting for the Krugs, and he will die for it. 5th kill of the game for Temp.
Observers, can we really quickly toggle to goal to see how close Odie was to this item? So close. That item greeting for it though means that 30 seconds Bifrost have to play 4 versus 5. This is a bound up still X7.
Bifrost must hold the line. The Keeper's Verdict knocks one away, and they have to cede this final inhibitor tower. X7 on the verge of a first game victory. X7 on the verge of continuing their undefeated run since Viking has joined. And this game is looking all but over. They will have one final roll of the dice, one final team fight. 3 seconds on Odie.
3 seconds on Odie, and now that he spawns, he's going to be greeted with double super minions coming into the entire...
Tempt over the wall, gets onto Diamond, can't quite secure the kill quite yet, but he will finally die. Tempt has to flash over the wall and Spirit Rush out, but he will survive. Another man down. And X7's wallets are just too heavy. They have the shinier toys.
They needed to pull the trigger right there before X7 back and buy even more items. If you wanted a chance to maybe turn it around, maybe pick up a couple of shutdowns, X7 cannot back and buy even more into their inventories. This time it's going to be Tempt with what I'm assuming is almost a full build on that Ari, and it's a full house right here from X7. Bifrost, can they take that house down?
It was a last gasp attempt, but now they are out of breath, out of time, and X7 will run them ragged. Another kill onto Odie. 3 picks in a row. This Twitch cannot catch a break. The rat trap is just too powerful. X7 dominate in our first game of our first series of playoffs.
There's 4 members remaining right here for Bifrost. They're trying to make their last stand. The Fury
it's not bad. There's just not enough gold. There's just not enough time. And while X7 play with their food, they still claim the victory. X7, the streak continues.
I mean, you mentioned as well, historically speaking, yes, Bifrost managed to take the 2-0 in regular split in spring, but when it came to best-of scenarios, they were not able to take a series of X7. Mind you, these are our 2 quarter finalists from EU Masters. These were the 2 representatives that we sent to EU Masters in spring, and now one of them is going to have to sit out and watch the other one play. History says X7 wins those.
It certainly does. The last time Bifrost beat X7 the best of 5, it was in the play-ins, the lock-in to get into the NLC in the first place. Since then, those best-ofs just haven't worked out. But with that little factoid, let's head over to the desk to break down that first game of the series.
And what a game it was in favor of X7, showing why they picked Bifrost in the first place. We're back on the desk. We need to digest this one to begin with. Let's talk about the draft. We saw the red side for Bifrost. They were the ones picking it, and we thought this could be a counter pick for the mid lane, for the top lane. And they got the Yorn to finish the champion select. You were talking about that one, Merbs, the idea of, well, Ornn versus Narn doesn't seem that favorable, right?
No, I think it's just a sit back and island lane. Like, I think they needed to do something other than just accepting the matchup. I think they should have gone and tried to punish the top lane in some way and just have bot lane scale in, yeah.
And then we see that attention to the bot side. So jump into the game, and let's talk about the beginning of the game, where we usually have one person on, well, 2 players on the top, 2 players in the jungle, 2 in the mid lane, and then we have 4 on the bot side. It was not 4 on the bot side. We have completely a big party on the bot side. Talk to me about that one.
They threw themselves at that bot lane. I think it was level 2. Diamondprox was the first to be down there. That failed. And then this is the second time, just 5 minutes in, and we have a party in the bot lane. The attempted gank from Diamondprox quite quickly gets cancelled because all of a sudden 4 men from X7 are here, and they take down Harvey. More importantly for me, the kill goes over to Temp, who's then able to take that gold, continue to push in his own lane, and be free to roam around towards that bot lane and just keep ganking, keep putting them further behind. And for me, when they had that early game rolling, all of a sudden Bifrost weren't satisfied with just scaling because they were too far behind to just sit back and scale. So they were forced in the position of forcing plays that never really ended up working out fully in their favor.
And we talk a lot about chests to begin this one, about this one. And I'm going to look into you on this specific play. You have the AD carry and the support underneath the turret. Diamondprox is approaching. He realizes it's going to be a dive, a 4v3. And it ends up being a 4v2 because he just bailed. It just went away. What do you think was the solution there? Diamondprox joining that fight, making a 3v4 underneath the turret? Because they couldn't go back.
Yeah, I think Diamondprox was just too afraid there. I think he just need to join them under the tower and try to make something out of their dive. But yeah, once he's not there and they just go for it, he's going to be there too late.
So we start talking about the idea that X7 start to build up the lead. Attila gets a lead because we do see those plays going down with the adult for Attila and the jungler. Timpt, as you said, first blood, getting 2 kills. Top lane, not by Zakul. And all of a sudden, you see a difference in money of 4,000 gold. And I approached to you on this one in the green room. This seems complicated, Merbs. How can they get back in this game? And you told me they can't.
Yeah, I think at that point, there's really no way they can get into the game by themselves. I think it has to be X7 doing something really weird.
And we saw some signs of life. We saw a play on the top lane. I know you wanted to highlight that one, but we got one on the mid lane where they do something.
Yeah, and I want to give credit to Bifrost for this because I very much like teams who, when they know they're behind and they know they have to do something, don't say, you know what, let's just let them continue that goalie. Let's just continue trying to scale. No, they tried to get back into the game, and hats off to them. They got the kill, they got the advantage on the Drake, they managed to get the Drake as well. The problem is they did not manage to get out. This is when X7 pulled the trigger, the TP in behind, and they were able to slam the door on this fight, explode that goal lead even further, and from this point onwards, it was all over for the side of Bifrost. But I really want to credit them for trying to get back into the game, forcing these plays. Unfortunately, it didn't end up working out fully for them, but I'm happy they did it. They showed the signs of lives, and that's a positive to take into the next game for them.
My question to you, Mervs, to finish up this first game is, we saw Bifrost adapting throughout the game, trying to find a solution throughout the game. They kind of did. Was too late. X7 brought in a plan, executed it perfectly, no way around it. Is this something we can expect throughout the series? And is Bifrost in danger?
I think Bifrost is in danger, for sure, but I think they kind of came in with the right mindset that they have to do something early. I think what they tried to do on level 2 was pretty good. I think that's what they should do, but I think they were just too much scaling on their side, and they couldn't take control of any side of the map.
So they need to bring easier champion selects or ways to execute versus X7, because this machine is really oiled and there's no way to fight X7 right now.